All right, here we are. This is going to be a video a lot different than my normal videos about getting MS-DOS to work getting MS-DOS business applications to work in a Windows 10 computer. I know some of you guys most people are going to laugh their butt off, but I don't care. I have a piece of DOS software that I wrote in the mid to late 90s that we still use to this day. It's our main piece of software. It runs our cash registers, it does our inventory control, we do our payroll on it, we do our bookkeeping. I mean, we use it. It's important to us. And I've been working for the last 6 months trying to get all this stuff to work in Windows 10 64-bit, because the Visa company we do business with, and I imagine every Visa company does, they don't want you to have anything on your network that your Visa machines are hooked to that's not something being updated. In other words, a current version of Windows. So we started this a while ago trying to figure it out. And I had found it, my nephew turned me on to something because he's a gaming guy. This utility called DOSBox. It's an environment. And I got it to work. I learned it. It worked pretty good. There was some problems with it. It's silly as it sounds. The keystrokes, when you're running the number pad and you're typing quite quickly, they would just stop working. Or they wouldn't work at all that particular day. We never could figure out why. What it does, it revert back to number lock being off. And the way I think it does it, all the forum stuff I read, the games are designed. Remember, DOSBox is built for games. A lot of guys, a lot of people, sure gals too, like to play vintage DOS games on their computer. And so they use the keypad for up, down, left, right, that kind of stuff. Well, so at some point, the emulator must have been resetting that. So anyways, I'm looking around these forums because my daughter when she types in a PO, she can be 3 screens ahead. She's going so fast and she's accurate. And this thing was really screwing with her. It was slowing her down. She goes, "Oh, Dad, what you had to do is you had to stop, type a key, make sure it came up on the screen, type another key. And it just really screwed with you." Well, and she goes, "Dad, I can get used to it. I can adapt to it." It's like, well, you shouldn't have to. Let me work on it. So I'm looking around these forums and I'm reading and reading. I went through the config file in DOSBox is over 1,000 lines. I played with every line, got everything to do with it. Played with this, there. Anyways, I was in the forums looking around, and there's huge forums for DOSBox. I mean, there's just lots of people use it. And there's one gentleman who was doing the same thing I was, trying to get some business programs to work in it. And he's having some trouble. And he asked a question, and this guy jumped in. And he wasn't in a very loving manner. In fact, it was kind of like, get out of our face. But he did give me the information I needed. He said, DOSBox is not designed for business. And it does say that in the configurations and everywhere. It does tell you that. But when you're desperate, you're desperate. He goes, "Why don't you use vDOS? That's what it's for." Well, I had never heard of vDOS in my life, so I went and checked it out. And sure enough, there was something called vDOS. So I downloaded it, started playing with it, and it worked a lot better. I mean, even the stuff that really worked, it worked a lot better, okay? And no keystroke problems, nothing like that. I mean, it's a little different to set up. So I had to rewrite all the stuff I did, which, not the programs, just the BAT files and things like that. Yeah, it's really good. And I wanted to share this with somebody else because I know there's people out there running some DOS. I know there's a lot of Fox-based people out there, so we're running FoxPro, that are still running stuff. And I just wanted to see if it helped somebody else. I searched, when I heard of vDOS, first thing I did is wander over to YouTube, look for it, and see if there's any great tutorials on there, and there wasn't. There was a couple of shorties, but nothing that would give you real information. So I wanted to see if I could help to fix that. This isn't going to be a fancy video because I've never screen captured, done that stuff. But you know what? It'll hopefully have some information that can help you. If it helps you, great. If it don't, well, sorry I wasted your time. When you install well, I bring them up there's a vDOS site right there. vDOSplus.org. vDOSplus.org. FoxPrO2.6.org. And it gives you some brief explanations. You can download the stuff. It's really nice. It has some printing built into it, native, where, I mean, you can print from your DOS application. If you're only printing 80 characters wide, you're not going to format the text and make it look fancy, then that'll work right off the bat. You don't need anything else with this. You really don't. It even lets you print to a PDF, things like that. Now with the printing, we quickly learned that it wasn't as good as what we had. We have this utility that we bought a long time ago. It was written in Spain, I believe. And they're still out there promoting it and stuff. And it's called, and they're still doing updates, Printfil, Printfil. And that thing, what they do is it's an app, it's a utility that runs, it's always in your taskbar. And it's waiting for a DOS program to throw a file out there. And you configure it. So what it does, it writes it to a file instead of writing it to a printer. Printfil grabs that file right away and then converts it by using your printer codes and things that's in your already embedded into your software. Usually they're Epson compatible. And it formats it so it looks beautiful. And you get a a full page preview, which is really nice. It's really nice for us with some of the reports we do that might be 25, 30 pages long. And you're really only needing a little information out of that report. Well, we just tell it to print, let it go to Printfil, look at the preview, get the information we need, and close it. We don't even have to ever commit it to paper. It's great. We're saving a tree. Yay. More important than saving some ink. That costs money. So for printing, I still think that Printfil is a good utility. You got to pay for it. I think it's like 30, 35 bucks or something when you buy. The more of them you buy, the better. I've got 9 licenses of it. But they're good forever. They'll let you do the updates and everything, which I don't do the updates. There's something wrong with them. So there's the vDOS. And when you download that and install vDOS, you'll end up with this little guy on your desktop. It's an icon for it. Okay? And the first time it runs, it'll tell you some stuff. It'll give you some, it's got a sample application built in so you can do some, try to do some print from one of those word processors, I forget. But anyway, I went in and I ran all that stuff out because, I mean, it's, as nice as it is, I don't use that word processor. I use Microsoft Office. But if you go to the bottom, if you're looking at this, see where it says use space C:\\. That will give it permission to the root of your C drive. By default, it will only have access to the C:\vDOS directory and lower. You can make subdirectories under there. But I want to get permission to everything. And if you're using it for a server, you're going to see later in this video where I show you some examples on a server. Then you type in the same thing, use C:\\, use C:\, new line, use F:\, and that would give it access to your entire server that happened to be running on F drive or whatever drive letter you're using. And then you can type in your path command, whatever you want, and then you are in a DOS system at this point. Hello, we're in DOS. Okay, this is its version of DOS. If I go over and I have a INB Red. Here's a small application. It's a portable application we use on laptops to do inventory of our stores twice a year. Each card I built, self-contained, has a big deep cycle battery built in and sealed up in a nice box. Not totally air sealed. Don't really yell at me about, oh, I know they had to gas out, but it's sealed enough so somebody dumps a cup of coffee on it or something, it ain't going to get in there and short everything out. And then there's a good battery charger mounted to it and wired in. It's designed for deep cycle batteries, so it won't hurt it. And anyways, they're good. They work. But anyways, this application here, and there's just a bat file in this directory. I'll start it from the directory, but you can also start from a shortcut. I think it's INB, not very inventive, but works. Yeah, INB for inventory. Boom, boom. That's written in FoxPro 2.6 DOS version. Boom, comes right up. It's pretty snappy too. Right now, when you set it up, it's initializing a bunch of indexes and things. It takes it a second originally. And if, let's say that I'd done half the inventory and I went to lunch or dinner or whatever, come back, it would give me an idea of where I'm at so far money-wise. That one item is just this. I have a test item that I have on our system that's designed for me. Test item for Dad, don't use. If you're using it, I slap the crap out of you. And what I like about this piece of software I wrote is you see that quantity so far. It probably doesn't seem like much if you've never done an inventory, but you're doing an inventory and you got 3 other people running around doing stuff, and they always have to come up with you with a question, which they should. That's part of life. And I don't know about anybody else, but I forget where the hell I'm at. Did I inventory that one I got in my hand or not? I don't know. Did I inventory this? Where did I? So I can literally either use the scanner, and this is compatible with this UPC scanner, or if I type in a number. But okay, as I typed in this number again, it told me, oh, I've already inventoried one time. So I mean, not one time inventory, but one quantity. Like if I add, say, 7 to this quantity, okay, and then I look it up again, it knows I got 8 so far. So I wouldn't have to, oh God, did I do that or not? It really helps a lot. But it's irrelevant whether the software works. The software works, comes up, no memory problems, everything is wonderful so far. Now, when okay, I'm going to talk to you like, I can imagine anybody listening to this is familiar with DOS. So I'm not going to explain everything. If you're running DOS, you're going to have an autoexec.bat file or a config.sys. That's what you're used to. That's normal. Well, those are already in use in a Windows system to stay compatible with NT stuff. Okay, there is deep down in the system there are those 2 files. So what they did is they used autoexec.text and autoexec.text and config.text. Same thing, just a text extension, which makes it relatively easy to edit, right? And that's where you set up you give it your drive number, like C or F or both. And that's also where you now the config.text, you can make some unique changes. There's a few configuration things you can change. It comes with some really good, very short PDF files. I think it's like maybe 4 pages total. One of them is a standard one, the other one's on printing, but they're not huge long at all. I had to learn. I got into the config.text with one of ours. I'll show you in the network where I had to disable the native printing because my son called me and our one of our purchase order printouts that he uses a lot for what's called a recommended reorder, where he prints it out, gives him an idea what he wants, and he goes down manually checks it off, and then it's designed for condensed, which is 132 characters. Well, it was only printing the first left 80 characters. Well, he was missing most of his data. And there are some configurations you can go in to the config.txt file, and you can put it into that mode so it stays in that mode. But we didn't want that because my printouts, I wrote them years ago, and they're designed with Epson control codes in them. I mean, you can have 3 different sizes of text on the same page, depending on what's going on. That, the title is expanded, and then the headings are a little bit bigger, but then the data gets squished down to give you as much information. So that's why we use the print fill. I had to disable the native printing, so it would, with that disabled, it went ahead and print fill would take over. Oh, I got a print job I got to do. And print fill is really easy to use. I've been using it for, probably 6-7 years at least on the Windows 7 stuff, and it works good. You don't got to buy it once. Now on this vDOS, if you're using it on a standalone computer that's not connected to a network, there is no charge for it. You don't have to pay them anything. If you're running it in a business environment where it's on a network, it will sense that, and it'll come up with a screen dead center, boing, and I call it begging for dollars screen, but it just gives you their info and stuff. And so they ask you to register it, and the registration as of today costs $50 per computer, or I give them the $250, and that's for a whole network. You can put as many on there as you want. I did it so I didn't have to keep track of the names and all that stuff. It's just easier to register them that way, and I think it's worth it. I mean, thank God somebody come up with this. I got a lot of time and effort in creating this stuff. I still want to use it. We went out and tried to find newer software that works as well as ours, and we couldn't find any. It's all the canned software is very generic. Yeah, it works for what it does, but it requires the user to do a lot more work. Where our software, like my managers don't even have to adjust for on hands for how many to keep on in stock. The computer does that every month on its own. It constantly is adjusting how much it should keep on hand for each item, looking at the sales, looking at what our trends are and stuff. So they don't have to. It does it itself. Now the bad news is when you get a really good month or two, the sales go up, all of a sudden I'm hurting for money because the computer will say, well, if I'm selling that much, I need more inventory. And they'll automatically order more crap. And then I got to pay for it. I haven't found a way to automate that yet. But anyways, it works really good. And it has for years and years. It's easy to teach people to use the cash register part, which I'm not going to even call into the cash register. You're taking on my faith it works. It doesn't matter. Any DOS program is the same once you get it working. So we'll go in to the, I got to log in, don't I, here? I screw around so long it stopped me. I run all my work stuff. I can connect to it remotely. So this here is me connected into our network remote. Now I want to explain to you that I could tell you these text files they use. They normally when it installs it in a directory called vDOS right here. But in this directory, anything, okay, if you're running one application, you don't have to do any of this fancy stuff I'm telling you about. You just put it in the autoexec.txt, what you want it to do, and you're off to the races and life is good. If you're like us and we have like 20, 25 different separate programs that we want to run individually, we don't want them, they're not all menued together, because a lot of them are about that communications that happens when you when we talk to the cash registers, or there's what's called an update that happens before we do anything at night. Before we talk to the CAD, the update does a backup of everything first, and then it updates it checks for new items, new price changes, description changes, weight changes. We do a lot of stuff in weight. Any change it checks, and then it creates a file that's going to be sent to the cash register when it's done. Okay, so those are individual things. But anyways, here, if you look at this our one, I put one here in this subdirectory so you can see these. This is win_rm. Okay, and this just for me stood for win reg menu. But in that directory is just those two files, autoexec and config.sys. config.txt, excuse me. So for every unique program you're going to run that's not called from the program before it, you need to create a subdirectory, and in that subdirectory you put your unique autoexec file. The autoexec file is the only thing that changes. Okay, and it's real simple to use. That's the only thing different about it, but it's easy enough concept to comprehend and understand, and it works. I mean, that right there is called by this shortcut right here. And this is our main system where we go on and where the people do it. Okay, this is where they do their work. And there it is. So it works. I mean, that takes you into where they do any changes, pricing, adding. There's my test item. And all the kinky things work, like you can add it, of course, and do that stuff. You got your note field that comes up if they need it. I mean, it just works, and that's all it has to do for us. And so we're happy with it. Printouts work. I got to think, I don't really know a way I don't want to show you my personal stuff, so I can't really do a printout to show you it works, because the data on there is going to have costs, prices, and all that stuff. Now what I can do is I can go here and again, if you're a DOS nut, everybody's done this, dir, and send it to the printer, to PRN, the printer device. And you know, if you didn't have this hooked up, it would lock up like that fast. And this is how it sends it to a different printer. Like there is my printer at the office, fax, Microsoft PDF, or mine is a remote PC printer. That'll actually send it to my computer here. And I have a choice once it comes. If you're using remote stuff, and this is for Windows, I gotta tell you, I love remote PC. Because when we used to use PC, go to my PC, and then people they got bought out, and they've raised their price from $100 per computer a year to over $500 a year. It's insane. These guys here, remote PC, I have a $500 a year, and I can run up to 100 computers. If you only need 10, I think it's like $65 a year. But here's our document. We can open it, and that'll open it on my computer here. Okay, so it's remote. Like I could save it here if I wanted to, or I could choose to print it, whatever. And that's just whatever you sent to it comes. I did a directory to show you how the printing function works. But it works fairly well. It really does. And setup is fairly easy. All you got to do is, and there's some notes in the configuration file. And there's, if I remember right, there's 2 PDFs in here. They're not very big. Yeah, printing and README. Okay, here's the first README about generally how it works. Do I not have a PDF reader hooked up on this thing? Oh. God. I hate Windows 10. I just hate having to start over. I had a perfectly good machine all configured. There it is. Okay, I've got one configured in here. Oh, that's because it's the remote. It's not my computer here. Okay. Well, this gives you the information. Maybe it'll be bigger. You can see it better. I don't know how well you're going to be able to see on this thing. I had to turn one of my monitors off because it was being so slow. There's not a hell of a lot here to do configuring it. It's just really easy. Man, it's a godsend, I tell you. And then the printing one, this is where I got that command to ignore, I think, or disable, or dummy. Yeah, I'll show it to you, the command, in a minute, where I did it. Spool. I haven't done spool yet because it's so damn fast. I mean, it's not like in the old days when you run a slow computer, you had to wait for it. And this here is something I haven't played with yet. I'm going to have to do it. It'll make it easy. You can actually tell it which printer you want to print it to, and then you don't have to select it, which I know my children would love that. I gotta see if I can print that one page here. You know, let me select what I want. Pages. I just want one. I don't want all of them. Is that the current page? Yep. Send it to the damn printer there. Because I didn't select it. Well, see right there, I didn't catch the fact that it wanted. Or what? I hope you can't hear my dog snoring. She's laying under my desk and she's snoring. Let me tell you. Will you stop trying to sell me on a Microsoft Edge thing? You know, if we kind of trusted Microsoft, we wouldn't have to worry about all this stuff. But I mean, Internet Explorer sucks so bad. Why would anybody even want to try? All right, so you get the idea. And that window comes up underneath the other window sometimes, just to piss you off. Lost what I was doing there. Disconnect. So that's all I wanted to say. I know this video is bouncing all over the place. I didn't make any notes. I probably should have. But it's fairly simple. If you want to run a DOS program for your business or basically anything other than a game, try using vDOS. It's free to download. You can play with it all you want. If you're on a network, it'll give you it's just a little pop-up window comes up, takes up about a quarter of the screen, and then you click on it, it goes away. So I mean, that's all. But if you were stuck, it'll help you. If you're trying to set it up and you got any questions, I mean, I'm no expert at all, and I'm not taking responsibility if your machine blows up or if you lose your data. Data is the worst thing. But I'll help you what I can. I've learned a lot playing with this stuff. And I wish somebody could have helped me. It would save me a whole bunch of time. Because I spent the time trying to get DOSBox to work with that keyboard thing. I probably put 3 months into it. More time than I want to remit. But I'm happy now. We got the thing going. And now it's just fine-tuning and tweaking. And now it's like, oh, what else can I get out of it? So I'm happy. I really am. Windows 10, you tried, but you didn't take it away. Every new upgrade has been trying to take my software away from me, and you missed. Keep shooting. What can I say? And if you gun guys or happen to be if you look at the rest of my channel, you see I'm kind of a gun nut. I like to reload and stuff. So if any of my friends in the gun community are still watching and still sitting in their chair and not rolling on the floor laughing, nice talking to you all. Hope you're all having a good time, man. It was warm out the other day. It was 40 something here in Michigan. I went out and I unloaded some of those 357s I was complaining about. I had too many. I had to unload them. Those the pure lead ones with the Molly lube. I went through probably 150 or so. Heck, the Smith & Wesson 686 was getting so dirty it didn't want to. My hands were black. But I mean, I got a lot of lube in those things. Took it out, cleaned it. Was clean. No lead in the barrel, nothing. So I got another 75 or so, and then I'll have all those cleaned out. And then I get a chance to cast up some more of those nice smooth bullet I got from NOE for them, and the one I was using, a 350 black, 350 Legend, which I still do, but it's made for a 357, so I'll load some up in a 357 and see how they work in there. Talk to everybody later. Thank you for listening to me. Goodbye.